Hello and welcome back to Let's Play UnderRail Expedition with me, BringItDon. So we're gonna head back to the camp. It's the best way back here. And then you go straight twice. Go straight west twice. Yeah, diagonal's not gonna help me out here. Straight. Trying to plan it out so I avoid the heart seekers because they're annoying to fight. Sorry, heartbreakers, not seekers. Oh gosh, not interested. Want any of your cookies? Oh, I think I need to go down here. There's a burnt out locust corpse there. Reminds me a little bit of the crystallized corpses from Dark Souls. I was playing some Dark Souls last night. So I'm trying to play through the entire series. Played the second one briefly. I've never played the third one, so I'm trying to play back through the first one. And just play through the whole trilogy. So that's what I'm doing in my free time. How about you guys? Also have finals coming up, so I'm not gonna have a lot of free time. Gotta snag it where I can. Also went and saw the lighthouse with Robert Pattinson and Willem Dafoe. Oh, that scared the crap out of me. I was like, what is up here? Or what is on the beach? Yeah, I don't want to park my jet ski up here in case the natives come a knocking. Alright, so I'm assuming I'm supposed to talk to Professor Oldfield now that I have the improved security clearance. First thing I'm going to do is go talk to the merchants. Also, I want to talk to Seeger while I'm here. Because I have several of those M7 devices. And I think the next step is to go get a bunch of throwing knives and to go back to the fetid marsh. Okay, he's gonna tell me about the anxiety disorder that Southerners suffer from. He sighs. Right. Here's the deal, and it's quite simple. You know what agoraphobia is, right? Fear of big places. Correct. Now, there's a very specific kind of phobia closely related to that one. And it's called megalospelenisophobia, or palinkophobia. I think it's palinsophobia. Anyway, that's megalospelenisophobia, meaning irrational fear of large caverns, or more specifically, of being in large caverns, or even more specifically, of being in a large cavern because you haven't been in one before. And Southerners suffer from it more than Northerners because... Okay. When we first came to South UnderRail, we hired a decent number of Southerners as laborers. Laborers, technicians, guides, etc. I think I said guides. Guides with a D, not a G. Then, when we came here, a lot of these people, not all, but a lot, began complaining about feeling dizzy every time they looked up, about worrying that the stalactites were going to fall on them, and generally feeling like they were exposed and vulnerable, about having horrible nightmares. But that is... Anyway. The thing is, none of the sect troopers or anyone from the research staff experienced it. Neither did I or any Northerner, basically. Why? Then it occurred to me. You Southerners tend to live in places that have very little space above your heads. You live primarily in Metro's small, low-ceiling caves. Core City is spacious, though, but it doesn't appear spacious. Compared to North UnderRail, well, this sits in the middle of a massive cavern. We're used to them. Most of you are not, and some of those can't handle it, apparently. I'm doing fine. Does it mean I'm tough? He sighs. You haven't been here for long. I don't know. People are different. I don't know. Anyway, these men couldn't have stayed here. They would have gone absolutely mad. Derailed. He sighs. Derailed. Whatever. So this phobia is the reason why you needed these new people. Laborers, at least. Mostly. Some did Yes. The ill ones were returned home. That is why I need to closely monitor you people. We don't know who can handle this and who can't. You feel funny, you talk to me. Got it? Alright, Sparter. Do I have anything that you want? 4 medicines. Now give me all of your best stuff. Uh-oh. We're a little low on funds here. They seem to be having another discussion and are unaware of your presence. Listen to the conversation. So Marky, how do you start working for Aegis? Well, after I got my degree in weapons engineering, I started working at the TRC, Old Biocore Armory facility. I'm designing, testing, and maintaining auto turret systems, both directed energy and cartridge based. Oh, so that's where your fetish for them energy guns comes from. I saw the way you touched that plasma gun of yours, you naughty person. I'll make you feel it if you don't stop interrupting me. After that, I moved to a Dreadnought production facility and worked on the autocannons for a while. Hold on. Protectorate blew up Biocore and took over your home city, and then you graduate to design turrets and cannons for them? Listen, Tone, I was a teenager when it all happened. What can one do? Besides, I was always fascinated by military technology and weapons. I had a father too I could be taught and inspired by, you know? Yeah, I get your point. Guns are hardcore. Then what happened? Then I moved to Aegis Incorporated, but working on these Dreadnought systems got hardcore, stressful because of various interventions from above. So when one of my colleagues who had started working for Aegis tipped me off they were looking for a weapons engineer, someone experienced with automated systems and such, it was a simple decision. I pulled some connections so that Protectorate would let me go, since abandoning such projects isn't all that easy. And that's it? You just change jobs like it's nothing? Ain't that all a bit boring? Well, I'm sorry, I didn't change jobs because my boss tried to kill me because I was trying to grind his daughter. Hey, you getting hardcore cheeky there, you wimp. And I didn't try, I did her. That's what life's like down south, Marky. Some zoner wants to kill you, you get a new job. The shop blows up, you get a new job. Your jet sinks, you get a new job. There's no la-di-da and you dominate through. And every step of the way you gotta be hardcore starve. And what that kind of life teaches you, Marky, can't be bought. Not even with a million Sharons. Well, in my case, after Protectorate took Dis over and everything settled, life became stable. I finished high school, finished my military training, got my degree, started working, earned my blues, and had a lot of time to focus on other things. Things I deemed fun, like reading. You read for fun? You're derailed. I read because I gotta. Arts, like painting. Your nails? Cooking. Yeah, for your wife, Mary Ann. He sighs. There's no use talking to you. He pauses. Hey, Marky, come on. I get you. You and I, we're different, but you're hardcore in your own way. Seriously, I'd go derailed spending all this time next to you if you weren't some real lottie dude. Wahahaha. If it wasn't for that reading of yours, I never learned exactly how plasma balls are generated. Compressed to right density and launched through the air while maintaining their shape, trajectory, and kinetic force, all with them variables taken into account. That's hardcore. I never read that, but I like it when someone shows it to me. Yeah. Yeah, I'm with you, Marky. Reading develops the mind and one's ability to understand and communicate ideas. You woa, and what now? He shakes his head smiling. What do you need, Rondon? Want to speak to you? Paycheck. Yeah, 500 coins. Don't waste it on brewing hookers. Wahaha. He sighs. Ignore him. Dollars for Sharons. Alright, what are you willing to buy? I will sell you that. He can't afford this, can he? But I can get some batteries out of this. Split it in half. Get rid of 5. Oh, come on now. You made me do this. Whoops. He removes his glasses and rubs his eyes and temples. His darn migraine. Then he notices you. Ah, BringItDon. I have a report to make about Nexus Technology, a large research center. Explain to him what you discovered. After listening to you with great interest, only occasionally interjecting with various exclamations of surprise and awe, the professor shares his thoughts. Goodness me, that is marvelous indeed. You descend down the elevator shaft, turning on the power, exploring the floors, all of it. Truly incredible. And the fact that you managed to upgrade your microchip implant's clearance level with that. What'd you say the device was called? Microchip encoder. Ah yes, microchip encoder. That clearance level will certainly prove of great use. Certainly. Great work, BringItDon. See Marcus about your well-earned bonus. I'll contact you as soon as I have a new task for you. Biocore seems to have left most of the facilities untouched. How come they never entered them? Not even after so much time. They had 2 centuries to do so. There are no records which could give us a clear answer, but as you've seen yourself, the usage of mutagen to eliminate Lemurians is a very good reason why they didn't immediately enter them. And after that, who knows? The Lemurians were the last enemies of the Biocore Undernavy. After that, it was disbanded, under quite turbulent and unclear circumstances, and its assets were transferred to Biocore Armed Forces. Some of it later recycled, stored away. You know how it goes. Following that, we can only speculate. Maybe these circumstances have simply led to Lemuria not being seen as important, or important enough. Maybe it was forgotten altogether. Maybe it was the mutagenic contamination that prevented it. Or perhaps it all came down to some higher interests, or more precisely disinterests we can't possibly perceive. Any new discoveries? Okay, let's go talk to Seeger. Hoping that he's up here and not down below. Hold on. Let's go see if I get my bonus. I'm assuming I already picked up my bonus, but maybe. Oh yeah, 400, heck yeah. Clean those coins well. I saw where he kept them. Doing some exchanging, okay. Alright, well I got a little bit of money back in my pocket. So I can go buy some throwing knives with me. So I can slowly whittle down all those darn heartbreakers and stuff. Alright, I hope he's in here. He stares at the screen, twisting one of his locks of hair with his index finger, and mumbling to himself. He seems to be unaware of your presence. Data, data, data. So much data. And only one Zeger. He flinches. Zit. Hey, come, got something for me, man? Can I get some more coffee? Well, I opened the keep and gave you more reasons to drink it. Huh? Oh, haha, yeah. He scratches the back of his head. Okay then, man, okay. Grab yourself a flask or 2 from the coffee maker, and leave something for me. Hey, could you take a look at this for me? Okay, I get to work straight away. Wait. Did I ever talk to him about Hexagon, or did he turn me down last time? Done. Got something interesting for you. It's on the PC. Tell me about Hexagon. Professor already told me a bit, but I'd like to hear more. I don't have read this yet. Alright, let me restart. Gosh darn it. I'm gonna try to just click through this real quick. I'm just gonna restart from the I'm just gonna reload the autosave and then read that. Gosh darn it. I wasn't sure if I'd read that before, so I goofed up. Alright, so we did that. Coffee. Boop, boop. Alright, let's put that stuff on the PC. Then we ask about Hexagon, because I think last time he turned us down. Alright, so tell me about Hexagon. Professor already told me a bit, but I'd like to hear more. He did? Okay. He shrugs. While this may be the capital of North UnderRail, Hexagon is the capital of technology. It's like this microcosm of everything high-tech. A place where you could find pretty much every extreme thing. Okay? So how did you end up in there? A friend of mine took me there. We needed some network equipment. One of his acquaintances there had the best stuff. Hexagon's a pretty confusing place. It's like this tall tower with many floors, each one packed with narrow, maze-like passages leading to all sorts of these extra places. Naturally, the place is home to all kinds of tech gangs and various factions. Protectorate got no presence there. Nope. You gotta be careful where you tread and who you're dealing with, because if you're not, you might find yourself face to face with, I don't know, a cyborg mugger or a tech harvester. He makes a grimace. Usually I stay out of that place, but that friend, he knows his way around. I just kept my head down and followed. But then, after I was introduced to XR, I bought this living cube in, and he shuts up. Is this the virtual reality Professor Oldfield mentioned? He looks around. Okay, but don't tell anyone about this. People don't understand this kind of stuff. Okay, XR is short for mixed reality. That's mixed reality. Hacking. Is it something like augmented reality? Real environments with computer-generated overlays? You're thinking in the right direction. But this is something different. This is Excel. You know how regular virtual reality works already? You put on a headset, maybe connect the electrodes, enter a gyrosphere if you got it, and then you're in this totally computer-generated world. But mixed reality is different. Some of it is real, some of it is virtual. He glances around once again before proceeding. Okay now, there's this thing called Mixer you gotta step into. It's like a gyrosphere, but there are no headsets, electrodes, or anything you have to put on. You step into it, the entrance closes, and the session starts. It costs a lot of credits, but it's worth it, man. Hexagonians are going crazy over it. I still don't understand the mixed part. What are these sessions like? Yeah, so when you're in virtual reality, everything's digital. The computer reacts to what you do. You affect the virtual. But in mixed reality, the things can get affected by virtual things. How is that even possible? I don't know. No one knows. That's why it's so Excel. Everything around you changes, and you can't even tell you're inside the mixer anymore. You can feel the air currents, smell things, touch, taste, feel. The sessions themselves range from just visiting places, meeting people, flying, doing all kinds of things. Flying, as in piloting an aircraft? Nah, flying. You can get abilities you never knew were possible. You can see things beyond real, virtual. You can't even tell. His voice drops almost to a whisper. There are also some dark things going on in XR. Some people get killed in the mixers. Things that are brought in end up somewhere else. Some people disappear. What? That sounds really cool. That's something that could be explored in a future expansion that they said that they're working on. I don't know. That'd be cool. I stay away from those kind of sessions. I don't have the courage for that. Where I go to, I do some dreadnought piloting and some other things. Other things, like, you know what? That? No. Some do, but I haven't found a good... Not that I was looking for it. I try it, but I haven't. Anyway, this whole mystery, the possibilities, everything I told you about mixed reality is why it's so thrilling. That's why the Hexagonians are going crazy over it. Part of it is real, part of it isn't. Who made XR in the mixers? That's got to be some advanced technology. He shrugs. No one's got a clue. It just suddenly appeared, and now it's here, and everyone who knows about it is spending all their credits on it. I'm new to all of this, man, so I know little, but I think one of the factions there is pushing this. Just a rumor, okay? Could all of this simply be a combination of a good illusion and some false rumors spread around as to hype the whole XR thing up? I haven't thought about it. Everything's so real, but... He pauses, sipping his coffee. Zit. No, no, no. It can't be. I know what I experienced. But then again, but it can't. He sips some more coffee. I'll leave you to your work. Appreciate it. Bye. Okay, we got some more stuff. We've read about Phil Bridges. No, we read about George Palmer. We also read about Phil Bridges. Alright, we'll do Jarl Asmund, Crimson Meadow Animal Enclosure 3. 1 second. Alright, Jarl Asmund, Genetically Engineered Animals, article for the Lemurian Intelligencer. Last month's edition featured a wonderful article on the cultivation and genetic engineering of plants, Crimson Meadows by Benedict Osborne. This article prompted me to write my own as a follow-up. The basic philosophy of ecological development that NFT, and by extension us, Lemurians, have undertaken. The difference is that I will be focusing primarily on the animal kingdom. Natural environment is a term denotes an environment that encompasses all living and non-living things that occur and interact naturally, without intervention from outside forces, like human beings. Lemuria used to be a fully natural environment before our arrival, with living inhabitants which were, while far more diverse than our foreparents had anticipated, still much less numerous and less varied than the world from which they came. Fish and fungi were abundant, and arthropods and smaller mammals missing. But large terrestrial animals and plants in general, on which Osborne elaborated, were, barring a few exceptions, a thing of the past. It was a healthy ecosystem, no question, but it was clear then and clearer now that there was room for improvement. For it is our duty to develop the environments which we inhabit, to populate them with life that's not only human, but also our duty to cease our intervention as soon as we've aided nature sufficiently, because a healthy ecosystem must be self-sustaining. We, the Lemurian Agricultural Committee, a long-term plan for the rejuvenation of the animal kingdom of Lemuria. The basic premise, through means of genetic engineering, a fixed number of selected species which would then be released into the wild and continue evolving through natural mechanisms, as opposed to the hitherto artificial ones. These base animal families would then further evolve and branch out into other species. The fundamental idea was to introduce into the environment all elements deemed necessary. The plan also included an important clause: reduction of reproductive cycles in all engineered species of animals as much as possible, while also engineering their DNA in such a way as to boost mutation rates in a controlled manner and within certain limits. For great care must be taken when trying to speed up the whole process greatly. I'll now elaborate further on both these important points. The reproductive cycle is, essentially, what determines the speed at which evolution occurs, since only through conception, through merging of gametes, reproductive cells, and therefore their chromosomes, do we get an actual new organism with a different set of traits. But that alone is insufficient. We already have species with incredibly short reproductive cycles, like small insects, and they do not differentiate very fast. Environmental factors are also important, but that means we've something natural selection. There's an important step before we can reach any of that: mutation rate. Mutation is the primary driving force behind evolution. Natural or artificial selection do not create new species, they merely select them, determine whether organisms survive and reproduce. Mutation is what causes changes in the cell's DNA, and these changes could, if not deleterious, result in a healthy creature with different traits. Mutations can arise in many different ways, from radiation or chemical damage, erroneous DNA repair, but these somatic or acquired mutations do not necessarily become hereditary mutations, also called germline mutations, and can be deleterious to a living creature, giving rise to diseases such as cancer or... Mutation rates differ between species, as well as between different regions of the genome. Therefore, our genetic engineers is to modify the base family's DNA as to fine-tune the mutation rates, controlled hypermutation, specific segments of the genome, to increase the probability for mutations which are more likely to benefit the creature, increasing their heritability, and decreasing the probability for deleterious mutations. Say that? Yeah, deleterious. Okay. Mutations to occur. This is important. Faster reproduction of animals more susceptible to mutations work exponentially to their benefit. Natural selection will take over from that point, and life will expand and diversify faster than it ever could, without planned stabilization of mutation rates after a number of generations. Several enclosures have been constructed so far, containing the animals and monitor their progress, one of which is the Animal Enclosure 3, near Crimson Meadow Horticulture Center. Office I am sitting right now and writing this soon-to-be article. Through my window, I can see a herd of blubberous bovinoids grazing on juicy red grass. Soon these majestic creatures will become the first of our artificially evolved animals to be released. In 10 years, once the vegetation spreads further and more species become introduced into the wilderness, this cavern will be teeming with life richer than ever. Oh man, that was a lot to read. Alright, Mark Bright. Alright. Hydrothermal vents, article for the Lemurian Intelligencer. The existence of hydrothermal vents had been known to humanity for many years before the end of the Old Era. While they were all well studied and the mechanisms by which they operate well understood at the time, harnessing difficult challenge and would happen only in years just before the descent. These vents, fissures in the planet's surface that issue geothermally heated water, and are primarily found deep below the ocean surface in regions where tectonic plates spread from one another. With the average depth being just over 2 kilometers, it is clear that the path to exploitation of these rich resources is one laid with some quite imposing obstacles. In addition, some of the other, more effective ways of producing energy made pursuing hydrothermal vents as valid energy sources a rather costly and inferior option during the early 21st century of the Old Era. But the world was changing rapidly in these deleterious times of human existence, but the future was costly. The exploitation of fossil fuels itself fueled political avarice and extermination of millions of something most brutal wars the world had seen, for if food comes before morality, so do hydrocarbon energy sources. The reason their finiteness... The reason for their finiteness and the growing hunger of a modern society that needed to be sated with exponentially more energy. Thus more and more political entities, be it countries or supercorporations, were forced to turn to renewable resources. New frontier technologies made it their mission to rely only on renewable energy sources: sunlight, wind, waves, hydrothermal, geothermal heat, I don't know, if available. It was our saving grace that we had developed these technologies to a high degree before the descent, staring into the eyes of extinction otherwise. One successful NFT project was Lemuria, the world we live in, and it is the inquiry into the exploitation of geothermal sources that has made Lemuria possible. In the chaotic final days of the Old Era, a global investigation has been performed by New Frontier Technologies in order to find suitable locations. Tenebrous Dome Lake, abundant gashes in the lake bed. The relative seclusion, relative meaning that UnderRail is still not too far away, spaciousness of the caverns, and thriving underwater and terrestrial life, all further attributed to richness in life, is precisely the product of these hydrothermal vents, because the energy and precipitation of the minerals from the vents support the chemosynthetic bacteria, which are in turn being consumed by the larger organisms, and the food chain continues from there. The relatively small depth of the vents made harnessing energy from them a simple task for NFT, so sensibly all facilities were, and still are, being powered by hydrothermal energy. This natural decentralization of power sources, each facility had to have its own generator. Granted, L-IT4-U AVAC transformers have been installed to transfer energy between facilities in case of emergency. These ended up being used rarely, the most notable case being the power failure at Lemco in LE21. The generators that were used were L-X-SCRC-70-U, supercritical kestrel cycle generators designed specifically, installed at the base of each facility atop their respective hydrothermal vent. Each facility is equipped with power substation units, singular devices based on old cedar power generators. These units are directly connected to primary generators, performing a variety of functions such as regulating distribution, electrical current conversion, and backup generation. Reason why the cedar design was used as the basis for the unit. The vents themselves range between 200 and 400 degrees centigrade in temperature, with some of them providing an excess of 50 megawatts. I don't know why I confused myself there. Whereas the generators themselves were designed to last for more than 200 years. The estimate for dry versions, aka non-water, is about 250 years, which convincingly relates how well designed and coded the U versions have become at that particular time. I'll conclude my article here, as I've already mentioned there are more reasons why hydrothermal vents have proven useful to us. The minerals being precipitated or collected and processed, the biota being supported by the vents, and the tall smokers and corals make up for a stunning landscape which grasps the viewer and doesn't let go. I'll leave elaboration of these, however, to someone more competent in their respective subjects. Oh man. Tough stuff to read. Alright, let's do Lisa Jackson. First draft of Naga Protectors. Note. Think of a better name. Article for the Lemurian Intelligencer. Today they have finally unveiled the Naga Protectors, named after the mythical creatures of the Old Era, pinnacle of Lemurian engineering, embodiment of the Lemurian style. But first, I'd like to start at the very beginning. Note. Expand the intro a little bit. Even before the descent, the 6 supercorporations have always had different paradigms when it came to robotic design and development, often with completely opposite goals. First example, Biocor viewed robots as nothing more than autonomous tools, and so they designed them accordingly. They were limited to little or no interactivity with humans. They were to be fairly simple in shape, rather cubic for the most part, as to facilitate mass production, lack any and all decorative features, with abilities strictly confined to the domain of their work. Some were made for security, some for heavy lifting, some are modular. All of them were made as one would make a tool, need nothing more. Whereas Bionic Institute viewed things a bit differently. Their ultimate goal was to merge humans and machines, flesh and metal, grown and manufactured. It was natural that their robots were viewed more than just simple tools to be used and discarded once they were no longer useful, considered members of their society equal, as much as possible at least, to those who made them. They were being developed to be intelligent and sentient, to think, feel and dream, love even. And where artificial met its limits, natural was used to augment it, and vice versa. That's how they viewed it, and that was how they did it. The exact opposite of Biocor. Note, use synonyms for viewed, it repeats a lot. Next example, Security Agency. They built machines for war. Innumerable series of warbots have been produced and perfected, some even manufactured by other, greater warbots that were designed to continuously output new machines no matter the theater or threat they were in. Range from the cheapest and simplest like D-drones or the RX-5s, the cybernetic foot soldiers. Largest and most destructive, the dreaded orbital devastators, capable of eradicating their enemies from the edge of the thermosphere with precision and mercilessness no living creature can ever achieve. Responsible for millions of deaths alone. Built to obey and destroy, and they were used by the SA themselves, but also by anyone who could afford them. Note, add, something warbots never had, something markings. Obviously the greatest machines of war are Titans. Come on. Anyway, New Frontier Technology. We made ours to construct, to raise, to manufacture, to terraform, to serve not only their owners, but humanity and the environment. Wherever humanity could and would go, appropriate robots could and would follow. The Earth's orbit, the deepest point in the ocean, isolated underground cavern. We developed our robots for the environment. The basic paradigm remained unchanged wherever we are. This paragraph is a lot shorter than others, but I suppose NFT does not need much explanation. So we came to Lemuria. Our needs here in this underground world are completely different than they were in the place where we can look at the sky and the sun. The absence of the sun has made a huge impact on Lemurian style. Talking about this is, we had the technology to survive and change the world, but there was nothing beautiful down here. It's all water and dirt, darkness, and no matter, terraform. Even if we one day surround ourselves with grass and forests, would never replace the lack of a shining sun. The few oldest among us still remember it, but even those who have never seen it do miss it. Note, short in the section, the sun part is a bit rambly. Turn to water motives, sensibly. It was the primary source of inspiration, absence of the sun. The distinct Lemurian style developed quickly, among other things gave birth to the servants. Based upon the long-standing helpers which literally built our facilities, The servants were improved in all aspects. Note: remove the sun part and merge this with the previous paragraph. Still could use a few more lines in Lemurian style, however. Functionality-wise, they were adapted to operating in this specific environment. Just a few examples: solar cells for emergency powering were removed for obvious reasons, electric actuators were upgraded from A900 to L-8910-WP, waterproof version designed for Lemuria, sensitive components were as well replaced with more suitable variants. AI has been upgraded to allow the servants to swim and perform other actions while partially or fully submerged. Note: don't need more examples, already elaborated on that in the previous article. Major changes was the way servants are being stored. Instead of being stacked in tubular pods and moved out of sight, servants would retire to olivalt pedestals which would recharge them, blend in with the other purely decorative statues. Pedestals charge them by the means of electromagnetic induction, so the top surface is nice and flat. Note: nice and flat. Having servants rest in the hallways has an added benefit of them being more easily available. Their idleness served aesthetic purpose. As the olivalt stone proved too heavy for the servants, a special kind of coating was developed to give their skin an appearance indistinguishable from olivalt. This coating is slowly reducing the use of olivalt globally, but that is a wholly different subject. Note: should add in there somewhere that the coating is called OC40. For years, these improved helpers, the servants, have served us well. Note: should rephrase that, sounds silly to me reading it now. Community thrived, our technology became more advanced, cannot forever remain in isolation, and that someday all that we have built here will come under severe threat. We are not a security agency, but we should not be defenseless. The recent militarization program of the Joint Security Command, terrestrial guardian robot equipped with heavy weaponry, but would also serve an aesthetic function similar to that of the servants. The same pedestal-based recharging and type of surface coating were to be used, with perhaps slight modifications. So that answers the JSHQ from last episode. It is Joint Security. That's where the similarities end. The Naga Protectors are not here to do heavy lifting, or to prepare our meals. Kill our opponents. The new LZZ-2 fusion cannons, which proved easily surpasses any other weapons we possess when it comes to raw destructive power, capable of eliminating pretty much all targets short of T-12 rated armored vehicles in a single hit. What else is more fitting to carry such a weapon than the largest of our servants, or should I say protectors? The cannons are installed inside the protector's mouth and are completely concealed until engagement. The first two units unveiled today have been posted in the Nexus of Technology's courtyard, and we will be seeing more and more. They will be sitting atop their pedestals so that we may marvel at their beauty. But when danger finally draws near, the rising glows so that we may marvel at their might. Final note: the whole text is too long. I should have to cut something or split this into 2 articles, or else Alexander will never accept this. Oh boy. Alright, one more to go. Benedict Osborne. A Crimson Meadow article for the Lemurian Intelligencer. The world whence we came used to be green, not because of toxic chemicals or olivalt stone architecture, but because of plants. Freely and wildly they covered the surface of the old world. The plants got everything they needed from luminous celestial, called the sun. Some of them stayed close to the ground, some twined up taller plants, clinging to them for dear life, whereas those tall and firm ones rose, sometimes lived for centuries. These ones, trees, we don't see anymore. Their size or shape, all of them needed the sun. The sun still exists, but its light no longer reaches us. Because of that, no plants grow underground, but species of fungi not need the sun to grow. We will not be talking about fungi in this article, but only plants. We cannot make our own sun per se. We can, however, substitute it. One needs only light. There are differences in what kind of light it is, of course. For instance, strong UV light causes the plants to create antioxidants in order to protect themselves from photo damage, and these antioxidants increase their nutritional value. Colored light, say red, performs far worse than blue light at maximizing photosynthesis because the waves we perceive as being red lie in the lower frequency spectrum of visible light, and therefore carry less energy. Let us start with simple white light, which is simple to produce anyway, UV light. We have the hydrothermal vents to drive our generators and create power, and we can use that power to create light. We have the sun now, but what about the plants? There are many kinds of plants. Some plants are called Streptophyta, and these are the land plants, the most common. Also things like Chlorophyta, and these are green algae. There are others. Some have seeds which carry the plant's embryos and food, but some don't and instead have mobile gametes that can fuse together far away from the parental plants, whereas others have spores which do not fuse at all to create new plants. To grow plants in Lemuria, we brought plenty of seeds, gametes, and spores of many different species, all sealed to last for centuries. We have our sun and our plants. What else do we need? Some need ground for minerals. We have that. Oxygen as well. Plants need water, and those that did not live near water needed rain, water falling from above. Large masses of condensed water vapor floating high above. We'll make our rain if that is what we have everything now and plants are growing. Do you see a problem? No? In the old era, living creatures, at least the majority of them, did not need our care to survive. In fact, plants are older than humans, as are many other living existed before us. We as Lemurians, as a new frontier technology, we mustn't forget that our mission, life possible where it shouldn't be, environment thrive alongside us. We can grow plants in our closed gardens and our hydroponic chambers, but that is not environment. Environment is outdoors, as the old saying. Oh man. Tim and I are responsible for creating plants that could flourish in the dim caverns, that do not need our sun and our rain. Or us at all. First, we looked at their color. Not all were green, but some of them were, at least when it came to the parts of a plant in which photosynthesis occurred. Why? Because the sun provided too much energy, so plants that absorbed it all get burned. That's why no plants are black, which would be their color if they had the ability to absorb all wavelengths. So the plants are green because they absorb blue and red light, reflecting what is left of the visible light spectrum, green. Chlorophyll is the actual pigment, which allows photosynthesis in these kinds of plants, and it has proven to be the most successful solution but not here. Here we need that piece of the light spectrum. We've tried creating these black plants at first, but they had a problem even in limited light. Fine normally, but shining even moderately bright light on them can cause them death. That was not a permanent solution. Purple plants absorb too little light, because they had normally lived in areas that offer them too much of it. Then we took a look at some of the non-green plants, and why the algae that live deep in the massive bodies of water, oceans, were red because red light didn't penetrate far enough through the water. So the algae absorbed everything but red light, which essentially means it got reflected back. Genetically modified through numerous iterations, many species of existing plants to have red pigment. This proved to be the thing we were looking for, the perfect balance of color for our world. 2 species of water reeds and 3 of grasses were among our first successes. The water reeds first spread beyond the range of our light, towers, and took on a life of their own. Then the grasses. We are constantly adapting new species to dimness, giving them the green that they have been giving to us. But soon they will be able to adapt on their own. One day we might grow trees? This is not the end of our work. New challenges await us, and there is so much to be done. But the most important thing is that we have managed to at least create a crimson meadow in this gloomy underworld. Not our meadow, no, for we want it to exist even if we cease to. Okay, well I'm done reading. I'm actually done with the episode now. Holy crap. Ugh, my eyes are straining from reading all that text. Next episode, we're going to head back to Core City. I'm going to grab me some throwing knives. Well, I guess the SGS. I'm going to grab me some throwing knives. We're going to kill us some stuff in the fetid marsh once again. It's going to be a very slow journey. Anyway, thanks for watching. I'll see you guys in the next episode.